Alright, hey guys, this is Grant and Kristin. We're here at MoCCA, which stands for
Museum of Cartoon and Comic Art here in New York City.
Yes, and this place is packed. It's completely crazy. We're going to go around and interview some people, some comic artists, and yeah, ask some questions. You guys get to kind of feel like you're here. Anyway, yeah, we'll probably chop this whole thing up, so I didn't say any of this. So I'm just gonna keep rambling. Stop it!
Because there's no one here to tell them to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. Hit the stop button. Hit it. Totally crack up like Alright, we have David Malky, who works on, well, go ahead and tell us what you do.
I'm David Malky. I do a comic called Wondermark, which is created entirely from 19th century woodcuts. And sort of a collage idea. All kinds of cool old looking stuff, but it's all gag comic strips in the newspaper tradition. So, all my comics are at wondermark.com. One of my books is nominated for an Eisner this year. I'm also really friendly and happy, and I believe you should have more fun in your life than you're having, regardless of the amount of fun that you're having.
Can you show us your internet meme with the beards?
Oh, well, I do have a book called Beards of Our Forefathers. And what many people have done, give themselves a beard, like so.
It's awesome.
So I recommend, it's good for anyone who has a beard, small beard, big beard, no beard at all. This way they can all have the ideal standardized beard.
I definitely have beard envy. I can grow the mustache area, a little bit of this chin stuff, but nothing here. So
you should buy his book
egalitarian.
Yeah, apparently I'm needing this
for all your beard needs. Can I get one of these?
All right.
Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. So your stuff?
My stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and plug
Again, this stuff was done on the fly as quickly as possible because my friend Ken. My friend Ken said he would give me half his table. So I threw together two single panel gags, kind of Far Side-esque. The Rockwell Zone is Norman Rockwell meets Twilight Zone. You know, two good old boys lying around drinking. What are they going to do? Well, if you're up in space, I guess you hop in your rocket ship and go abduct somebody. And then again, this I sent to a friend of mine, and he said the caption should have been, "I'm just not reaching this guy. I'm not getting through." You know, that right here. And if you look at the T-shirts, I'm going to put up. The site will be up soon. Playlandcomics.com. Actually, it is up now. Playlandcomics.com. It'll take you to my blog, which is Surfside City. There'll be comments, stories, and cartoons on it. And also a place to buy t-shirts. I'm big on t-shirts. This is the first one, premiering here at MoCCA, but there'll be a whole bunch of other stuff, like with illustrations, stuff called Nerd Balloons, which is kind of like this, but you know, a comic word balloon on a shirt with some stuff I'm going to do to it. And that should be up, well, here. That should be up summer 2009.
Right on.
All right.
Well, cool. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. We are with Ken Wong, and he presents a very interesting, unique take on how he lays out the comic page. And so we'll let him go ahead and talk about it.
Right. Well, actually, it's a little bit about different forms of comics. I mean, we've been talking about comics are a medium, not a genre, and comic books are a format, not the entirety of the medium. So actually, and we were talking a little bit before about webcomics, and that's actually how this started. Because it was about 2 years ago at a exhibit that was at the Museum of Comic and Cartoon Art, the actual museum, not the festival, called Webcomics, The Infinite Canvas. So Scott McCloud was there for the opening reception, a lot of webcomic artists, and we got into a discussion about webcomics, print comics, and me always being the devil's advocate, I was like, well, you know, webcomics are not the be-all and end-all. There are certain things that webcomics can do that print comics cannot do, but there are things that print comics can do and webcomics cannot. And we talked about smell and all these other things, but the thing that I got that they really couldn't was paper comics can be folded. So, of course, how many people fold their comics? But I said, I'm going to do one. I'm going to do an origami comic. And so I said, okay, I don't know how I'm going to do it. And I went home and I started thinking about how could I do an origami comic. So I did my origami research and I said, okay, I can do a box. So once I had the box, I said, I will tell the story of Pandora's box. So the form came first, then the story, and then I decided to tell the story. And part of this was, when you talk about layout, was when you're telling a story in the box form, you're not talking about the page where people understand. You read top to bottom, left to right. How do you know where to start on the box? Okay, so I said I'll make a title page. People should start there. How do you lead the eye around the box? I decided to put in a border and then leave one end open. So once you leave that open, it leads the eye always to the open border. And then obviously, when I got to the point of the story where Pandora is deciding whether or not to open the box, that's the point where if the reader wants to continue, they're going to have to open that up. And then they do. Well, hopefully they do, and the evils of the world do not all fly out. And then once they do, then the story takes a slightly different turn, and I tell them how to put the box back together again. And in terms of reconstructing the box, at the same time, I'm actually deconstructing the story and giving them a little bit of background about what went into the story and some of the assumptions and all that. So I talk a little bit about that in mythology. So that's where this came out of. And I debuted at last year's MoCCA Art Festival. It had a nice reception. People seemed to enjoy it. And they said, well, what are you going to do next? And I said, oh, that was really sort of a thought experiment to prove it could be done. But then I said, okay, let me see what I can come up with. So I started thinking about another box comic. I was originally going to do Schrodinger's cat, which is the idea of if you put a cat in a sealed box with a radioactive particle and blah, 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 is the cat alive or dead? But then at some point I said, when I'm telling the story, a box is appropriate, but actually more appropriate would be what I remember as the fortune teller. Because really what you're talking about is multiple possibilities. So is the cat alive or dead? Oh, maybe it's alive, maybe it's dead. Maybe it's either alive or dead. And I explained why the cat is both alive and dead. Part of that theory is the multiple worlds theory, which is they said the cat is both alive and dead. This is actually another physicist's theory. Said the cat is alive and dead because there are multiple universes. And I'm a comics guy, so you say multiple universes to a comics guy, and your mind, I saw it just went the same exact place that mine did. No, you're talking about comic books. You're talking about the multiverse. I know the multiverse. So I took Schrodinger's cat. I said, what if Schrodinger's cat was in these different universes? Well, it might be different cartoon cats. So in certain worlds, it would look like different cartoon cats. So I took some of my favorite cartoon cats, and I interpreted my cat as different cartoon cats and as part of different cartoon universes.
Yeah.
So, for example,
yeah, Felix and...
well, right, exactly. And then different universes. So if you're a comics geek like I am, you say, oh, Earth 616. You know what Earth 616 is. That's the Marvel Baseline universe.
Yeah.
Well, if I put my cat into the Marvel Baseline universe, what would happen? It'd probably get irradiated, but that would be fine. That cat would be alive. What if we put that cat onto DC Earth 5? Well, that's the Shazam universe. It'd probably be struck by lightning and be dead already, so that cat is dead. But it answers the question, how can a cat be both alive and dead? Because there are multiple universes. And when you talk to a comics person, they understand multiple universes. So that's part of it. I've just been having lots of fun exploring the formats of comics as an art form. There's different ways to tell it. It doesn't have to be a book. You know, it doesn't have to be, it could be web, it could be print. And again, you know, you have to deal with the different ways of telling the story. How do you unfold the story? How do you get them to turn the box? How do you get them to open the box the same way? And then obviously that relates to web commenters because they've got all sorts of different options as well. Long and short and infinite canvas and all of that. So hopefully I think that's what this festival is all about, is people exploring comics as an art form and saying, what can we do with it? You know, I've seen what other people do, but let me try something new.
Great. You have a site where people can
sure.
get your stuff?
You can find out more about all these comics on www.k-wong. So it's k-wong.com.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, pleasure.
We really appreciate it.
And we get ripped off.